Jeff Rosen, this next question is directed at you. You have no managerial experience whatsoever. With only 15 years as a lawyer, what qualifies you to be the DA?
It's an excellent question. Outside of the district attorney's office, I have significant management experience. I was the president of the board of directors of a large nonprofit in Palo Alto with 1,500 members, 20 full-time employees, and a budget of $1.5 million a year. It was the temple that I belonged to. As part of that, I had a board of directors and an executive committee that I reported to. I set budgetary priorities. In addition, I made change in that organization. I hired, I fired, I negotiated all the contracts that we had with our full-time employees. Management and administration are skills that can be learned. Ethics and integrity are things that you have or you don't. When I become the district attorney, I will sit down and have a conversation with everyone in the district attorney's office and ask them, what are we doing well? What could we be doing better? What are your personal, professional goals as a prosecutor? And finally, without saying something negative about your current supervisor, who would be a good supervisor that I may not know about? I want to learn the organization from the bottom up. Thank you.
Respond to the same question, please. It was directed to, it was a question about Jeff Rosen's managerial experience.
Well, let me tell you about my experience. I was a lawyer in the office for 15 years. I was the supervisor of the sexual assault team for 2 years. I supervised all of the senior lawyers trying those cases. I was a judge for 6 years. I supervised the family division for 3 years of my 4 years there. I also supervised the Unified Family Court. It was a pilot project that we were getting off the ground that the presiding judge asked me to do. I've also have been the district attorney, obviously, and so I think management experience is incredibly important, and in these budgetary times, it's not the time to learn that job. And I think being the president of a religious organization, which is a volunteer job, is very different from having to hold people accountable, to making the tough budgetary decisions, and to making the tough decisions that you have to make on the cases that come through our office. And training supervisors is a very important job, because if you're going to have convictions with integrity, you have to have supervisors who are trained.
District Attorney Carr, this question was directed toward you. Why did you challenge Judge Bryan?
Thank you for asking that. I represent the people of the state of California, and that's each and every one of you who live in Santa Clara County. So if you are the victim of a criminal case, I think you want a judge who is going to hear your case fairly. And after 3 years of this particular judge hearing cases, and my lawyers coming back to me, several of whom had challenged her on a number of occasions, and came to me and said, she really is not giving our cases a fair shake. And then on this last particular case, she let a child molester out of prison, dismissed a case for conduct that had nothing to do with the particular case. The Attorney General is appealing that, and we decided that we could no longer risk our cases being dismissed, your cases, by having them go to this particular judge. These are some of the tough decisions that you have to make as the district attorney if you're going to keep our public safe, if we're going to have our cases heard fairly. And
thank you very much.
It's not about making tough decisions when you're the district attorney. It's about making the right decision. All the district attorneys have to make decisions. The issue is whether they're making good decisions or bad decisions. DA Carr's unprecedented boycott of Judge Andrea Bryan was a story that was not only covered in the San Jose Mercury News, it was in the New York Times, the Gilroy News Dispatch, the Pittsburgh Gazette, and the Media Newswire. Why? Because for the first time in the 150-year history of Santa Clara County, a judge was blackballed. And the district attorney, when asked why she did it, wouldn't explain the other cases that she says it's a pattern, but she wouldn't explain those. We have a system of checks and balances in our criminal justice system, and the district attorney's actions are not going to lead to the fair administration of justice. It really evidences a win-at-all-costs attitude. We don't like the judge, so we're going to take our marbles and go home. I will respect the judiciary and not do those kinds of things, because that's what we expect in our criminal justice system in Santa Clara County.
Dolores Carr, you have 2 minutes for your closing remarks.
Thank you again for being here. This is an important election on June 8th. I know all of you will be voting, and I hope you'll vote for me to continue the work that we've done. I was a judge for 6 years. I have faith in my colleagues on the bench that they will continue to make the right decisions. They know that this is business, and that's what you have to do. I hope you'll look at my website, dolorescarforda.com, because my opponent says a lot of things that are inaccurate that have been spun by the Mercury News, and I hope you'll see my setting the record straight on my website. Why should you vote for me? Because we are in an area where we've got challenges coming down the road, marijuana dispensaries, early releases from prison. We have budget cuts that are unprecedented. And it's important to have somebody with experience and with proven leadership, and someone who is not just standing on the outset, on the outskirts, never having had to make some of these decisions. It's a different skill set, arguing a case to 12 jurors, than it is to run an $85 million budget and almost 500 employees. I'm proud of my track record. I hope you'll take a look at my endorsements, Mayor Reed, Sheriff Smith, Pete Constant, and over 45 elected officials, when you make this choice, because it's a real choice about who is the most experienced and has the proven track record in keeping our communities safe. I think it's also important to just point out that, that other DAs in the state, as well as the public defender in our own county, have also done these challenges of judges, because they know that they have to take the responsibility and make the decisions to make sure that our cases are being heard fairly. It's constitutional, it's the law. I exercised a right that we have to protect you and each and every one of you as we look to have our cases heard fairly. So thank you very much for your time today.
Jeff Rosen, 2 minutes, your closing remarks.
A few days ago, I was talking to a person who's a venture capitalist about contributing to my campaign. And he said to me, you know, I don't usually get involved in local races. I'm more interested in national and international issues. He said, so what's your big idea? What's your big idea, Jeff? I said, my big idea is an old idea. Ethics and integrity in the criminal justice system. That's what's required. The fact that my opponent has management experience just means that she's done something. It doesn't mean that she's done it well. That's why the Santa Clara County Bar Association voted her not qualified for the first time in history. A sitting DA being voted not qualified. This is unfortunately a situation in the last few years where we need change, because we've had a DA doing a favor for a campaign contributor, blackballing a judge, putting her name on a billboard, and getting involved in a conflict of interest in a murder case that was so serious that our office had to recuse itself. What I will focus on is your safety, public safety, and the integrity of our convictions. And I will do that by funding a cold case unit, a conviction integrity unit, and by having open discovery. When you elect me as the district attorney, I will serve the community with hard work, with good judgment, with integrity and humility. I look forward to, I will be a good district attorney when I begin, but I will get better because I will listen to you. Thank you very much. Very nice morning. I'm going to go out and get some popcorn and Junior Mints now.
I'd like to thank the candidates.